you can immediately notice a different energy. Wow. But I walked all around this room, looked in every nook and cranny, and I gotta say, I did not really feel anything. It's a good sign. There is a fly flying around. I don't know if you can see that. I keep seeing it smack into the window. He's trying to get out of here. He's scared. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'd say my spook level was hovering about a 1.1 on the spook meter. On the spookometer. No Bible. You know what, I feel like hotels like this often, because they're haunted, can get a pass if anything about their room is like shitty. Because they can either be like, well, the ghost did that. Sorry, your bed's fucked up, the ghost did that. Or just like people who are coming for like a haunted experience aren't looking for like the nice amenities of a hotel. They're not focused on the backsplash of the bathroom sink. They're focused on like, am I gonna start floating in the middle of the night? So, you know, I feel like we should be fair and actually do a review of this hotel room from a non-paranormal perspective. When you stay in the Haberdasher Suite, you'll feel like you were transported back to the early 1900s. And not just because there's a man trying to sell you a bowler hat in the corner. I'm talking solid wooden doors, no central AC, which according to an email was to preserve the historic feel of the room. A giant AC unit by the window, which does the exact opposite. I also like the fun historic pics of the hotel. Oh, that's the hotel in the background. That's tight. I thought this lady was holding a gun at first. That's why the hotel's haunted. This is moments before the first ghosts entered the hotel. This couple's just laughing, having a good time. This lady's like, yo, get a picture of this. In keeping with the theme of not keeping with a theme, the bathroom also felt very out of place. This is actually a very nice shower. Some nice artwork over here. This is beautiful. The bathroom had this like newly renovated farmhouse aesthetic, like something straight out of an episode of Fixer Upper. 0 out of 10, not historic, and too nice to be haunted. Seriously, when it started to get dark out, the only place I felt like I wouldn't get haunted was in the bathroom. I'd be peeing and the haberdasher would just be standing outside the door like, come out here. I can't haunt you in there, it's too nice. Come out here where it's old and creepy. Please. I want to sell you a hat. Okay, this curtain has a stain on it. Something was up with the bed, too. Do my feet look higher than the rest of my body? All right, I'm settled into my hotel room. I'm chilling. I went to the hotel restaurant and ate some dinner. The view was beautiful and the food was just okay. And my spookometer is still going strong at a 1. Now, you're probably wondering what I mean when I say that all of the shows that film here are over-exaggerating. Unless you've watched one of these shows before, in which case you're not. You already 100% know what I'm talking about. Well, let's take a look at Ghost Adventures, which is hosted by what I like to call the Chris Angel of paranormal investigation, Zach Baggins.
This is a genuine, authentic haunt. The second I got my key and I shut the door, I pretty much said, all right, listen, I'm gonna have to get naked a couple times to take a shower. Sometimes in the middle of the night I get up to get water, and I can't guarantee that I'm wearing everything.
Oh no. Oh shoot. Is that something I should have done when I got here? Attention, all ghosts in this room. You are gonna see my dick.
From early childhood, I used to hang out around here. I've had 2 heart transplants. So every anniversary of one of my heart transplants, my parents would give me a weekend up here. I've had a lot of near-death experiences.
Wait, their gift to their son with severe heart problems was a trip to the scariest place in the country? Dude, I don't mean to pry, but your parents were 100% trying to kill you.
Our investigation will take us into 3 of the buildings that comprise the Stanley Complex.
The sound effects in this show are insane. They're designed to make you scared before anything scary even happens. I feel like I'm being shot in the chest every time they switch shots in this sequence.
The main hotel,
Whoa.
the manor house, and the
I'm hit.
carriage house.
Oh, fuck!
At 3 a.m., I was woken up by an unexplained noise, and shortly after that, my digital recorder captured an EVP.
Shut the door.
Stuff like this is pretty hard to dispute because it's impossible to tell if this is staged or not, or if this is just like static that happens to somewhat resemble a human voice. Without the text on screen, it kind of doesn't even sound like a voice. Like, let me play a different one, for example, and you try to tell me what you think it says. And here's what it says. Did you get it? No? I knew you didn't have what it takes to join the Ghost Adventures. Get out of my hotel room. And then we get to Shane Dawson.
I think they tried to decorate for Christmas, but it is scary. Why are all these chairs so scary?
Watching Shane Dawson investigate the paranormal is like watching a wounded deer try to investigate a theme park. It doesn't matter what happens, he's going to be terrified.
Oh my god.
Wait, are they fucking with us? Oh.
Try this.
Just unlocking the door to his room is almost enough to send Shane packing.
This is creepy as fuck.
It is a very normal hotel room.
Okay, can I just say something? And you're gonna think I'm being dramatic. My camera has been fine focusing this whole day. The second we got into this hotel, it stops fucking focusing every second.
I don't know if you guys know this, but cameras have a harder time focusing in dimly lit environments. That's like a well-known thing about cameras. It's pretty funny to try to pin that on a ghost.
It's not focusing on anything.
Yeah, you guys turned off all the lights. What is there to focus on? He's like panning around really fast and like getting really close to things in the dark. Like, I'm sorry, dude, the darkness is usually way crisper on this camera. But I think my favorite part about this is when Shane pauses the video and edits in text to point out something that he didn't notice while filming. I've shown this to so many people. Did you guys see anything? What did he think was there? I'm so confused. He didn't have to edit that in. It might be nothing? Yeah, no, it definitely was nothing. Throughout this video, Shane adds in sound effects that are designed to make his terrified reaction seem a little more justified.
Oh my god!
He'll hear like a tiny bump noise that came from outside and then add in like the loudest horror sound effect you've ever heard. Here's the actual sound effect, and then here's how scared that made me. Okay guys, I have a confession to make. I know I talked a really big game about all the ghosts that have been spotted in this hotel, and as I was doing some research in my room, I started to realize that a lot of these stories might also be over-exaggerated a little bit. I know! Apparently it's not just the ghost hunter shows that are doing it. Perhaps the hotel also has something to gain by playing up how haunted they are.
1911, maids up here lighting acetylene gas lamps. There's a gas leak. This room blows up. The maid's name was Mrs. Wilson. It's believed that Mrs. Wilson is still with us in the hotel here. We've had guests walk into the bathroom, the light will turn on. Their clothes are put away in the dresser drawers and their bags are stacked in the closet.
I have a couple questions about this story, because the way he tells it in this show makes it sound like the housekeeper is haunting the hotel because she died in this explosion at the hotel. She didn't. She didn't die. I looked it up. There's articles about this story. This happened in 1911. A housekeeper accidentally blew up like half the hotel. She sustained injuries. She broke both of her ankles, and then she died. In 1950. She lived for 40 years after this explosion. Honestly, even if she is haunting the hotel, like if she died here in 1950, that's her own business. The hotel doesn't need to go around spreading this story about her fucking up and blowing up the hotel. That seems a little bit petty, doesn't it? The interesting thing about the housekeeper ghost is that it's said that most of what she does to haunt the hotel is folding people's clothes and making their beds while they're not in the room, which, sure, it is pretty difficult to prove a ghost did that because that's what happens at every hotel when you leave the room, because that's what housekeepers do. But what would you rather her ghost powers be? Blowing up your room? Fucking up and just exploding the hotel? That wouldn't be a very fun ghost, would it? Yeah, this room is actually haunted by a creeper from Minecraft. If you hear hissing behind you, run. I'll be honest, at this point, I'm kind of worried I'm not even gonna get kissed by this cowboy ghost. And it's not just that. I also looked into the story about The Shining, and do you want to know what happened? What inspired this hotel's biggest claim to fame? On a cold winter night in the 1970s, Stephen King stayed in room 217 at the Stanley Hotel. It was the end of the tourist season at the hotel, so it was very empty, and while Stephen was sleeping, he had a nightmare that his son was being chased by a hose, and it was so scary that he wrote a whole ass book about it. That's right. As far as anyone knows, and as far as Stephen King has ever said, Stephen King saw 0 ghosts at the Stanley Hotel. 0 ghosts. You can book the room Stephen King stayed in, and it is booked for every Halloween for 7 years, because the hotel's booking system only goes 7 years into the future. And he never saw a ghost. Okay, but to be fair, just because Stephen King didn't see a ghost at the Stanley Hotel doesn't mean that there's nothing weird going on here, as I would find out when we got to talking to 2 tour guides at the hotel.
This is the 3rd, possibly the 4th haunted building I've worked at. This is definitely the most haunted place I've worked in town.
I think that there are far too many far too close enough to sane people at the Stanley who have a ghost story.
When I started working here, I was thought, maybe I'll see